my god, we're back. Welcome back to Higurashi. Seventh arc. Minagoroshi. I think that's pretty easy to pronounce unless I'm saying the first part wrong, because you've said Goroshi a bunch of times. Minagoroshi. Oh man. It always feels good to be back. It hasn't actually been. I think we usually take a longer break. But I'm not sure. It's definitely haven't it definitely have has not been a long time, but it's always good to get back into Higurashi, you know. By the end of an arc, you're like, I do need a little bit of a break to recharge yourself, and then once you start, you're like, I'm all ready. But yeah, I mean, I've been good. Nice to see the Higurashi boys back here. Not a lot of crossover between the other series, so it's cool to see the Higurashi regulars, besides Fawful, since he pops around everywhere. But yeah, I mean, I'm good. Not much has changed since the end of Sumi Horoboshi. I mean, I got my new bed. I remember. Oh yeah, I think that was during when my bed broke during that time. So I got that one made. Well, I didn't make it, but I bought it from IKEA and hired someone to make it, and it's pretty good. It hasn't fits my bad sleeping schedule slash habits, but it is a lot comfier. I mean, it better be. I bought the mattress literally tossed it like almost double the bed frame. So, you know, gotta treat yourself. It only happens once in a while. But other than that, I've normal for me. Just been enjoying life, enjoying the other series. But it's back to our roots here with Higurashi. Just a reminder, if you haven't checked the Sumi Horoboshi theory video, I think it's worth checking out if you are interested or have the time. It's a pretty good. Well, honestly, out of the theory sheets I've done, I do consider it a bit weaker than my other stuff. But like I've explained in that, it's just the nature of the arc, right? Like, I don't actually have too many theories to go by. You just got like a lot of answers, but you know, I go over some good stuff. So if you want like my sort of mental state going in, then you should check that out. Schedule wise, it should be the same: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Are we still doing the Saturday episode? I mean, we should. I mean, I remember saying we'll do Saturday, but like if we take a day off, I don't expect it every time. But I think we literally just uploaded every Saturday. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm still a sleepy boy, so. ah, Anything else to mention? Not really. Usual stuff. Just same patch fence. I swear every time I patch a Higurashi game, the website changes. But I think I went quicker this time, so that's good. Hopefully it's all nice. Oh yeah, the just again, I'm pretty good at like ignoring spoiler stuff, so I was very surprised to find out the cover character of this arc is literally a character we've never seen before. Um, I don't know. I'm guessing that's gonna be Oyashiro-sama slash Rika's friend. Unless it's like a Super Saiyan Rika or something. Like she powered up or something. Because it's definitely not a character we've seen. Chia in her true form. Yeah, so that's interesting choice. I wouldn't think of doing that because it's kind of a spoiler. But I guess you do you. I also did notice I tried not to look, but you know, I was patching. I was surprised about this. I looked at the Netstarts mascot character, and it's like some little. It's another character I didn't realize. I mean, recognize. So interesting, interesting. Hmm. Oh man, I'm just, professional stalling right here. I don't know. Oh, it's just been so long since intro, because I usually like to keep my intro short, which I'm sure most people watching this probably like, yeah, do it here, but I like to vent a little during the Higurashi intros. It's kind of like a tradition, so I don't carry that over for rants or 999. um uh Food tates? Oh my god, dude, I had so many food tates, but I just didn't say them in the other series. I mean, again, let me just vent. But it's to the point where I don't even remember some of them. Oh, I do know one. Oh, this one's a hot one. You know, start a hot one for the new arc. I think Cheetos puffs are better than the crunchy ones, and you're like, Aiden, no, literally nobody in the world thinks that, and I used to agree. I literally just ate the crunchy Cheetos like almost all my life, but I've been starting to eat the puffs, and I can confidently say I'm enjoying them a bit better. They're lighter. They the beds feel like there's more, even though there's probably like less because of how light they are compared to the crunchy ones. It's just a nice time. I like the soft, melty flavor in your mouth. There you go. I know. I don't think I've ever met someone who likes the puffs, and I didn't for a long time, but I'm a puff boy, alright? Puffy Cheeto puffs for the win. Is that enough stalling? I think we're good to go. Hopefully audio is fine, but like, I'm so shit at audio. My audio's been jank in a 999 up to the latest episode, so it's a little embarrassing, but let's see. I mean, usually the starts are pretty fun. Where do we go from here is the question, because I do know, again, it's been said to me that we do find out the mastermind in this arc, which is really exciting. I guess I didn't really give you a straight answer in the theory video. I mean, like I said, Oishi talk, and let's just kick out Irie for a second. It's like Oishi is the more consistent choice, so I feel like you should just choose him. But I like some of the scenarios where Takano is the culprit. I don't know. I'm a coward. I'm not giving you a straight answer. If it's not one of those two, then you can make fun of me. I'm even ditching the Irie. No, I don't want to ditch Irie because I actually think he can be it. Anyways, let's start. I haven't started the game. I literally just loaded up just to check if this is loaded properly, because I think it was Tutorial Doroshi. I patched it wrong, and this was all black, and I just didn't know. I thought it was a stylish choice. I should have uploaded the video. I was thinking about it. So I went like 15 minutes in, and it was just a black screen, and I thought it was just a stylish choice until it got to like Keiichi and Friends or whatever, and then I'm like, oh wait, I think I just messed up the patch. All right, I think I'm ready. I think I've relaxed. It's looking good on recording. Okay, let's just go. Jump into it. Minagoroshi. Can we get a difficulty level? Whoa. That's trippy. The final truth. Massacre chapter. Jesus. What, we can't have a happy... I mean... Okay, so it does make... So, I'm wondering if the 8th one is kind of like, Umineko is the 8th one where... I mean, we learned the truth in 7, and then 8th one's just... I mean, it's not an insult, but I always told the 8th arc of Umineko just a meme arc. It's really fun, but it's also just feels like a meme. A massacre chapter. This story introduces the unit inside and out, using all the actors. This is no longer a story, it's a public autopsy for all to join. As they say, after loving someone, cut open their belly and eat their organs. Oh, that's a familiar quote. I don't know if it's the exact quote, but heard that before. It's the same as stories. The difficulty is quite mild, well suited for those with pride. Well, you might not know this, but I do have a weird sense of pride. Maybe it's because I'm an emotional person, but I'm also strangely prideful and I don't really have a reason to be so. Sounds good to me. Is this the instances? We talked about that. I forgot what they named this in Umineko. There's a special name for it, but I just couldn't remember and I was too lazy to Google anything. So I just called them like instances in the Umiverse. I know they had a nice name for it though. Okay, let's go. Massacre chapter. Final truth. Who is it? Chia? Irie? Keiichi's mom? What are you doing? I don't see you playing by yourself that often. All you could do before was to nod to my questions. Since when do you have your own will? I'm glad. Probably talking to oh, wait. Talking to us? I finally have a sister or a brother. Whichever you are. I don't know if it's talking to me. I think it's talking to Rika. Maybe this is like the birth of Rika. I used to be an existence of nothingness just like you. But one day I began to have my own identity, my own thoughts, and eventually my own body. So it's not a surprise to see you in possession of your own will. Welcome to this vast yet tiny world, my sister. You might be my brother, but let me call you my sister until I know for sure. This is an endless, eternal, and infinite world. But that doesn't mean it's boundlessly vast. I suppose you can describe it like a ring with a smaller diameter. While the ring is an eternal, endlessly looping world, that doesn't mean it contains infinite space. Yes, in short, this world is eternally sealed. The future is supposed to be an infinite weave of countless choices, yet for whatever reasons our world always ends in death. Okay, so it's saying like even though this is the multiverse and they're supposed to like technically in most multiverse situations like vastly different futures happen, but for whatever reason in this world it always ends in the Satoko bomb or the gas bomb. If I were to compare it to something, perhaps a maze of fate would be appropriate. Looping through the same moments forever steadily grows harder and more dejecting, eventually producing something like me. Then as the future draws on, even one like you is born, and eventually this world may be filled with your sisters too. After that, we'll build a colony inside of it, and once we lose our interest in this maze, Rika Furude will disappear from this world. It looks like you can still cling to this narrow world, Rika. Though I lost interest long ago. Which is why I'm truly glad you were born for me to talk to. So what are you doing? Oh, it's trippy. I like how it's animated though. Are you collecting fragments of memory? I saw the Toto. Hitting us with all the characters? Or is it just Rena and Toto? There's only 5 or 6 of them right now. Oh, there's Keiichi. It still might be fun for you though. There used to be more fragments long ago. But one by one they disappear into darkness. No, these are the only ones that remain clear. Oh, that's not how you're supposed to use it. See? Try to hold it up to the light. All of that is the life of Rika Furude and its end. That one is... Oh, I remember that one. So who are we talking to? Because it doesn't... the cadence... Oh, is it cadence? No, just how it's written doesn't really match with the friend of Rika we've seen in the actual arts. Oh, Irie. Get out of here. Tomotaki. We still don't know your real name. So basically, we have, I don't know if these are the no, it can't be the... So there's like memory fragments floating. I don't understand completely what's happening. even though I should. So we're in the universe and Rita's chilling. And like, are these supposed to be the instances? But no, because they're memories. So it's just her like time in the instances like broken up. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get a better picture eventually. Smiling Toto. Very blessed. The world when Teichi was... That's the world when Teichi was cursed. Those fragments are like books to me, so I titled that one Onitakashi chapter. Ah. Do you remember what happened in that one? Good. That makes things easier. Oh, are we just down to get all of the answers like up front? I mean, good for me. Hit me with those facts. In Onitakashi, I still have questions. I don't know if they'll answer the parts. Though I do think, I think I did figure it out. I don't know if, I didn't talk about it in the theory video, but the men at the end, plus the men who, like, captured Teichi after he, like, escaped Rena, were probably just the Sonozakis sent by, Mion. The only part is Oishi's sketchy phone call, which just acted as like an amp for Teichi's paranoia, so I don't trust you, Oishi. In Onitakashi, Teichi Maibro was consumed by the darkness. He couldn't accept the kind words his friends offered him, and eventually beat them to death, not knowing of their kindness. We were all killed after that anyway. That had nothing to do with his story, though. That fragment is the Watanashi chapter. Shion Sonozaki was cursed in that one. Oh, confirmation. Because they kind of made it, since Mayatashi was different than Watanashi, they kind of still left it up in the air a bit for me personally, but okay. She killed many people out of revenge for her boyfriend's disappearance as he went missing in 1982. Rita worked so hard, but she was captured at the end and she was tortured to death. That's why she chose to commit suicide in Mayatashi chapter, because things were going to turn out the same way. That fragment over there is called the Tataradoroshi chapter. Tataradoroshi. Teppe. Satoto's uncle came back and locked her up inside her house. That was the worst world of all. There's nothing Rika was able to do in that world. Whenever Satoto's uncle comes back, Rika usually just gives up on that world. Fortunately, Satoto's uncle doesn't come back that frequently. I like that, so it's like a random number generator when he returns or not, which made sense because we didn't see him in the other arcs, so it's weird how that works. I guess it's like, I don't know how it works, because I'm guessing it isn't actually a game board by the way it sounds. Maybe it's like, maybe it is a random number generator, like there's a bunch of factors that could happen and they just put it in the world, like made up of the truths of the real Hinamizawa. I don't know. That one is called the Sumi Horoboshi chapter. Rika was there just until a moment ago. Ah. Rena Ryuju was possessed in that world. Maybe we aren't Rika. I mean, wait, I don't know. I don't know what's, is Rika being taught to as, like, the presence, like the true Rika, or is it, like, us being taught to? I think that's, like, the true Rika, but I don't know. Rena Ryuju was possessed in that world. It was pretty exciting to see her take over the whole school. It's true. It surprised me to learn that Teichi Maibra had a memory of the outer worlds just like we do. Other worlds. It was pretty amazing, but then again, most of us have some kind of memory like that. We all have an imaginary world within us, some idea of what would have happened if you did things differently. Yeah, but like, there's no way that explains what Teichi went through, since he like, yeah. It's like the strange feeling you get when you do something for the first time, but it feels like you've done it before. Oh, so that's why we went to these saw these arts because Rita was collecting the memory fragments for these or something. Everyone has a memory of an imaginary world in their mind, but the memory is not always that clear. It's not surprising, really. You are special enough to be able to see those fragments of memory. It's probably very difficult for you to understand how special you really are. Okay, so this is Rita. Or at least, like, maybe it's talking to, like, Burn Castle or whatever. You were born into a world where it's a natural thing for you to see these fragments. I was originally born into the normal world. I didn't know until recently that I could collect these fragments of memory. You grabbed those fragments just because you could, but I didn't know how to do that for a long time. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're not interested in hearing my story. Actually, I'm gonna pause one sec. Yeah, sorry, my headset was like squeaking, and I don't really understand it. Kind of annoying. Sure you're not interested in hearing my story. Still kind of squeaking, but I don't know. Huh? What's wrong? What are you curious about? Oh? You're curious as to why so many different incidents occur in the same world? Hee. It's very interesting, isn't it? Why do you think that's the case? Let's try to think about it together. Thinking is the first step towards playing a game. The main character among Rita's group of friends is Keiichi Maibara. In Higurashi, he was possessed by suspicion and killed Renariru and Mion Sonozaki. If that was an inevitable event, he would be killing them in every world. In other words, what Keiichi Maibara did in Higurashi was not inevitable. Indeed. The only thing that's inevitable is Keiichi Maibara's role. If Keiichi Maibara was someone with a naturally suspicious heart, he would take the same actions in every world. But that didn't happen. It's true that Keiichi Maibara is both passionate and easily convinced of anything. But it's rare for him to exhibit the kind of rage he displayed in Higurashi. In other words, even though something might seem inevitable in one world, that may not be the case if you compare it to a different one. If something really is inevitable, it will happen for sure in every life. That's what true inevitability is like. It's very important that you know that. When you compare the different worlds, what's common among all of them is the truth. Understand? The one truth. Well, yes. The truth of the world. Like I said, what seems inevitable in one life could just be a random event in another. The club activities that Mion Sonozaki suggests are a good example. If Mion Sonozaki had a strong inclination towards playing certain games, you would be playing them in every world. But in reality, you participate in different activities in most of them. That means the games they play in the club are randomly decided by Mion Sonozaki. We know that now because we've been through many different lives. Those who only live in one world can't see if the event in question is inevitable or random. Those only live once can't predict what's going on in Mion Sonozaki's mind, but we can. Although the activities are random, Mion Sonozaki tells us together for the club meeting almost every day in every life. I can see that Mion Sonozaki holds a strong will towards having the club meeting. Mion Sonozaki always wants to play with the other club members, but she doesn't know what to play. See? We can read Mion Sonozaki's mind by simply examining these fragments. With this alone, we can see part of who Mion Sonozaki really is. Let me talk more about Keiichi Maibara. For those who only live once, the world of Onotakashi chapter is nothing but a story where Keiichi suffered mysterious hallucinations and beat his friends to death. For them, there's nothing beyond the fact. We, however, can compare different fragments to find out something they could never see. As a result, we know that the murder of his friends was not inevitable. I told you that just earlier. In fact, while there are about 5 or 6 pieces in front of you, he only kills his friends in one of them. That means we can roughly conclude that the possibility Keiichi Maibara triggers the tragedy is less than 20% and is almost a fluke. This means that amongst the countless worlds, Keiichi Maibara causing the tragedy is an unimportant factor. So they're talking about the tragedy as just the murder of the 5th year, or are they saying the murder of the 5th year leads up to the gas bomb? I'm not sure. Now, can you find the common thread to be drawn from here? My, you found it already? No wonder you're born into this world. You're quick to learn the knack for playing with building blocks. I didn't figure that out for a while. I was born in the normal world, so I can only see things from a single world's perspective. I too was obsessed with the fact that Keiichi Maibara caused the tragedy, so I had trouble finding it. Right, that's exactly right. You see it? The Onotakashi, Watanashi, Mayatashi, and Sumihoroboshi chapters all have something in common. Someone in the group becomes violent because of dark and paranoid thoughts. In each world, it's true, either Keiichi Maibara, Shion Sonozaki, or Rena Ryudu becomes violent as their delusions grew stronger. Keiichi Maibara, Shion Sonozaki, and Rena Ryudu were all my close friends, but they were all born and raised differently. The only common factor is that they all live in Hinamizawa. You know what I think's going on here? I think, and I could be wrong, I think Burn Castle is talking to us, and we're like another person, and we're just, I don't know. That's how it sounds now. That's how I'm thinking. I don't know. Could either be that or someone talking to Burn Castle, but it's one of those. I feel like it's Burn talking to us, though. Because it seems like it. I don't know. I just said it not too long ago, though. When we peer through these fragments of multiple worlds, the constant phenomena becomes our facts, and the chance phenomena hold little meaning. In other words, the unrelated individual culprits are not all that important. To go further, the violence of their crimes also bears no meaning. Keiichi Maibara beat his friends to death. Shion Sonozaki killed the central people of the 3 families, and Rena Ryudu took over the school. They were all different. There's nothing in common there. In fact, the very important truth is that while the culprit and the crimes are decided at random, their process of growing paranoid until they resort to violence is always consistent. Yeah, it's like I said before. The mastermind is making people go paranoid to the point where they commit crimes. The suspect changes every time, but the process does not. After comparing the different worlds, this is the truth I found. This is the one truth that is common to all worlds of Hinamizawa. The rule is that a random person becomes violent under the influence of paranoid thoughts. This is Rule X. Keiichi Maibara, Shion Sonozaki, and Rena Ryudu. Pieces with no particular connection have the potential to succumb to that rule with random probability. I don't know what the probability is that those pieces will be ensnared by that rule. Perhaps there's some rule to that too. Is it because these 3 are all close in age? Or is it because they all live in Hinamizawa? Well, we're not detectives or police officers. This is not something that a small girl like us, Rita Furude, can easily figure out. At least we know that there's a mysterious rule in the world of Hinamizawa. People who only live once in one world will have no way of knowing that. I'm proud of myself for figuring that out. I guess for you it's not particularly surprising though. Huh? What did you say? That's right. If something is common among all worlds, that means it's fated to happen. Hee hee hee. Some events quickly come to mind, don't they? Yep. Right, Jiro Toмотaki and Mio Takano are always killed in those worlds. On top of that, they are murdered in the exactly the same way in every world. In other words, unlike our previous rule with its variability, their murders are thoroughly planned out by someone with a strong will. So that does not fit with the mysterious, vague rule X that leads to a random individual to violence. After all, they are always murdered, regardless of who falls to rule X. Therefore, there's another rule to these worlds, a rule that says Jiro Toмотaki and Mio Takano would get killed on the night of the Watanashi. Let's call it Rule Y. Hee hee. Don't you see how funny this is? Jiro Toмотaki and Mio Takano are killed in every world, right? Every time, the character who gets cursed always thinks that their deaths have something to do with the danger that's awaiting them. That is a good connection, huh? Yo! Is that points for Takano Mastermind? I didn't really actually add that to my equation. In every world, the deaths of Toмотaki and Takano always amp up the paranoia. That's definitely a good boost, too. Like, if it's Takano faking her death and killing Toмотaki, then, I mean, that's a good strat. Huh, that's something to think about. The fact that someone turns violent rule X. I didn't really go. I specifically said I didn't really go over this because I didn't think of that, but that's a really good point. Voice on black screen. And Jiro Toмотaki and Mio Takano's deaths, rule Y, are supposed to be two independent rules, but they all tend to link together. Of course, one could say that's how they became ensnared in the spell of paranoia leading them to violence to begin with. But do you think in their paranoia that they notice someone is trying to lead them to link those rules together? Yes. Whoever the pieces leading them is, they're the one making the stage called Hinamizawa very complicated. You should have noticed at least two suspicious people. Do you know who I'm talking about? I think the voice is gonna say Irie and Oishi. That's right. Ooh, okay. They went Takano, because they just talked about Takano's death, so I thought they weren't gonna say it. But okay, they're saying my two top suspects, huh? I mean, that's what they want you to think. And Oishi comes in from the back line. But no, yeah, these two are definitely the most suspicious people. I'm glad the author knows that, which probably means that the chance of it not being them has risen a bit, but yeah. I'm referring to Karudo, Oishi, and Mio Takano. Like, Mio is like, even if she's not the mastermind, like, something's up with her if she fates her death every arc, right? Which I do. Like, I'm a nice 99% sure she does. Or at least someone fates her death. When you compare our previous fragments, the role of the piece known as Karudo Oishi becomes clear. He's a detective who is retiring this year, and he's in a hurry to solve the mystery of the series of deaths in Hinamizawa. After he retires, he'll have to move away from the village. That's why he's desperate to solve the case before he has to leave Hinamizawa. Why is he so obsessed with the serial murders in Hinamizawa? I don't know. That's right. It's because of the first murder involving the manager of the construction site. That's the common answer. Like, like interest slash revenge for his friend, but like, is it though? I don't know. The victim was Owishi's close friend. Okay, at least that's an answer. We didn't really know how close they were. We knew they were friends, but it's nice to know that they're close friends. You will see that if you look at the Himitsubushi chapter. I mean, they talked once. Played some mahjong. Oishi was there when the damn conflict was at its peak. He saw how the Sonozaki family took control of the Onidafuchi Guardians, and he believed the Sonozaki family was pulling the strings behind the whole incident. And then I mentioned it in the theory video, but I don't actually blame Oishi for really thinking it's the Sonozakis, especially since they themselves are like putting off airs that they're responsible for it, so it made sense. But yeah, I don't forgive you for believing in Rena's bioterrorism theory, though. That's why he always suspected the Sonozaki family was behind the series of mysterious deaths, regardless of the evidence or lack thereof. I wonder how much we can take as facts from this. I want to say not, like, fully, just because it does sound like this girl is literally, like, theorizing also. But, I mean, I trust her. Slash him. I think it's a girl, but if you don't know. His personal biased beliefs, combined with his credibility as a police detective, affected by the pitiable victims of persecution complexes in each world. As a result, the pitiable victims of Roets come to accept the Sonozaki family as the identity of the unknown force their paranoia seats. Shion Sonozaki's case was the most conspicuous one in that matter. So yes, if this piece Oishi didn't intervene, then perhaps the victims of Roet wouldn't have resorted to such violence. It's interesting. So this person's claiming that he indirectly causes it. Yeah, I read that right. I don't know if I did or not. That's interesting. So yeah, I like how this voice is saying these two people are the most likely to have caused the Ruets, which is the paranoia killings. Which is basically what we were talking about, right? Except we were looking at it in the point of view from like someone like doing this on purpose, while she's more like looking at how it's just a rule of how the world works. Which is interesting. Maybe that means in some worlds there is I don't know. World stuff always confused me, so I don't like to go too deep into it. So let's just, move the needle, continue the reading. I don't know who named him this, but Oyashiro-sama's servant is the perfect nickname for Oishi. The other suspicious person is Mio Takano. One would assume that the role of her piece is to amuse herself with researching Onidafuchi's dreadful history and to take pleasure in staring others with those tales. However, just like Oishi, she also gives them the idea that the Sonozaki family is behind all the mysterious incidents in the village. Wait? Oh man, this is stuffed. Everything's always stuffed. I feel like my teeth are like chattering more than normal. Like I can hear them like connecting in my mouth when I talk. What is happening? I literally recorded last night and I didn't have these headset problems or the teeth thing. Maybe I'm like tired, so my mouth isn't opening as wide as normal, so I'm just clattering. I mean, what's a video on this channel without a bit of stuffness? I mean, episode 1, just the right episode to start with the stuffness. It's all good though. I still remember, I think the most stuffed one, like non-technical stuff, was when I drank too much and I threw up in the middle of an episode. I think that was in Himitsubushi. Good times, but Let's move past it. Hopefully the chattering isn't too noticeable. Obviously it's loud in my ears because it's my mouth, but yeah, it's like my fanged canines are chattering, and I don't know why. Unless they drew. Am I a werewolf? Who knows? She interfered the most with Rena Ryuju. For Mio Takano, Rena Ryuju was the perfect prey, grasping at straws to try and identify the force she suspected. Ironically, however, Mio Takano always ends up getting killed at the end. If she had survived and seen Rena take over the stool, she would have laughed long and loud. I can see that. Now, have you realized that these two pieces and their roles they fulfilled have their own rule too? They talked about the Sonozaki family and the listeners always believe them. This is Rule Z, and what a humorous role that is. Is that true? I don't, in Anatokushi, I don't believe, Takano did talk about the Sonozakis. On it, to be honest. In Watanashi, I think she did. The Toradoroshi, I honestly don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this Rule Z for Takano. Might be a miss. You should already have an answer to this mystery in your fragments on hand. Oh, the fact that is that the Sonozaki family always acts as if they are responsible no matter if they are or not. Is that the rule? Because, okay, I agree. They always pretend to be the villains in order to make sure that people continue to fear them. Sorry, I was doing that on purpose. As a result, the villagers have believed that the Sonozaki family have been pulling the strings ever since the dam conflict ended. Kuruda Oishi and Mio Takano were simply fooled by that rule. I don't like these assumptions. It's bullshit. Are you telling me the mastermind's not one of those two? Don't do this to me, game. I will go crazy if it's someone else. If it's Irie, it'll still be a blow, but I can accept it. If it's someone that's not those three, then I will literally lose my mind. If it's some new character that we've never heard of before, then that's fine too. If it's Oyasho-sama, then whatever. But if it's like, I don't, there's like no, there's no one else. There's only Chia and like random sprite characters that don't matter. Actually, the whole village is fooled by it. Still, the more I think about it, the stranger this year's of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa seem to me. He. See, is this Rita? I don't know. Who he's? Does anyone he's? I don't know. Do you know why? Nearly all the fragments of memories we have here are from 1983. So I have no idea about the incidents from 1980 to 1982. That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, we have a decent idea about 1982, but the other three, you can't really theorize them because we don't know. But it's likely that interpreting these murders as serial is simply a result of falling victim to Rule Z, believing that the Sonozaki family is pulling the strings behind everything. See, like, in a technical sense, it's not a serial killer, but I do think the mastermind is pushing to these, so you could call it serial in that sense. Because Rule Z, I mean, that's fine that everyone believes Sonozaki family, but I don't accept I accept most of what this person's saying, but again, it just sounds like she's theorizing, and this is what her theorizing led her to. But no, you can't dismiss Takano and Oishi like that. What will I have left? In short, they may be trying to conflate those multiple crimes, which happened for different reasons, into a one big case. Disagree. Well, I have no way of discerning the truth from the fragments here. Still, perhaps something lies in one of them. Each case was supposed to have been solved individually, after all.
「
After all.
私はあなたのことを愛しています」
After all.
「私はあなたのことを愛しています」
After all.
「私はあなたのことを愛しています」
After all. We don't know if that theory is sound or irrational, but it might surprisingly be an element we can't ignore. That reminds me, Shion said something intriguing in the Mayatashi chapter. The curse system she came up with. Do you remember that? I do. How Oryu says she wants... Wait, is that... No. Oh no, it's... Yeah. Someone's allowed to kill under the guise of it being the curse, since everyone believes in the curse, and the Sonozakis will take credit for it anyways. I mean, that's what I said in part of my Oishi theory, that there's a chance that Oishi's actively doing it to push it onto the Sonozakis, but at the same time, they're just trying to accept it, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess it works for everyone, but for Oishi, it lets them, like, push suspicion, so, like, maybe he gets to investigate them more for the truth. About truth, I that's more looking into the lens of investigating about the first murder, which I don't think Oishi committed, or he's just doing it to for another reason, since, you know, Oishi's been in Shishibone for a long time, so there's definitely some other grudges, I would assume, with the Sonozaki family. But I mean, easily as well, Takano could no, but this is direct killing. I don't think Oishi would directly kill. I do think Takano is a prime suspect for Totoro for the Rika death, at least, in my mind. I can't actually think of anyone else, but again, it's hard to say since everyone's literally, like, we don't see anyone, like, basically in the latter half, so I don't know. And that this foundation of murder is allowed on the night alone is the true identity of the curse. Since most of the fragments here are from 1983, there's nothing back in the validity of Shion's theory. There's nothing to back the validity of Shion's theory, but there are still interesting things about it. Sorry, I was just looking why my teeth would be clicking, because, you know, I'm, like, interested. Apparently it's probably stress. I don't know why I'm feeling stressed or why. It literally started like halfway through. I guess the scenario is making me more stressed than I've been, like, ever. But no, at least hopefully it's fine. God damn it. Let's continue though. Continue our talk, our lesson from a mysterious voice. In other words, her theory is that the suspect is not the one who's committing the crime. It's the environment that's causing the murder. It's an interesting way to look at it, but then there's no mastermind, and like I said, someone told me the mastermind was going to be revealed, so it's a low-key spoiler, but I appreciate it. It gives me it lights a fire in my heart to think harder about it, so I think it's a good one. But yeah, you can't fool me, mysterious voice. People in a single world tend to analyze a criminal's life to determine the process that led them to crime, but her idea is different. The real crime is committed not by the criminals, but by the environment. In other words, it may only be a happenstance that Robert A committed the crime. Unless Hinamizawa was the mastermind the whole time. Dun dun dun. Also, now I'm not hearing it's like the clacking teeth has replaced the squeaky headphone. My life is a mess. In other words, it may only be happenstance that Robert A committed the crime, and the environment of poverty may have created Robert B instead, or perhaps even Robert C. A may not even be a criminal in another world. Therefore, the real criminal is not A, but the environment that creates A, B, or C. It's interesting. This made sense with Keiichi being randomly selected, but if the environment's being manipulated by someone, then obviously that shifts the blame from the environment to the manipulator. And well, while people in a single world may be able to reach such an idea, the widespread desire to place blame commonly causes A to be lynched by society, while The environment that gave rise to A goes ignored. Did I confuse you? No, I understand. It's a nice idea. It's probably true for like a lot of I mean, it's technically true, but like then you're measuring like, well, if it's the environment's fault, how much do we want to blame the people? And then that's a tricky conversation that I'm probably not fit to have. So I'm sorry. Perhaps that example was actually harder to understand for you. It's easy for me to see it like that because I'm from the normal world. Let me make it simple for you. The culprit behind the tragedy in many worlds isn't individuals like Keiichi Maibara or Shion Sonozaki, but the environment. So Rule X is the true culprit at fault. You're earning good marks if you can grasp that, even if you don't know the identity of Rule X. And if you can grasp the 3 rules governing this stage called Hinumizawa Rules X, Y, and Z, then you're earning very good marks. So long as you understand those rules, then even if this is your first experienced world, you should easily find the truth without distraction. See? Isn't it fun? Merely 3 simple rules are interacting on the stage, creating a kaleidoscope of different worlds. This is probably a very unusual case. In other locations, you shouldn't be able to see such extreme variation, even after looping through several worlds. So those are the other universes, like the Umiverse and stuff. It keeps me entertained just staying here and watching these worlds revolve. Anyway, there's one more fact we can understand from these fragments of worlds. This is the biggest problem we Rika Furudes are facing. The fact that Rika Furude always dies each time. It's as if June 1983 is a dead end for her. Worse, there's no randomness to it. It's guaranteed to happen. In other words, it's the same pattern as deaths of Jiro Toмотaki and Mio Takano. It's following the exact same rule as Y. Toмотaki, Jiro, and Takano Mio are always murdered on the night of Watanashi. Rika Furude's death date is not always the same, but she's always dead by the middle of June. Jiro Toмотaki and Mio Takano are probably attacked on their way home, so that's why it always happens on the same night. But for Rika Furude, it's different. She takes different actions in every world, and her lifestyle is very unpredictable. For that reason, the day of her death is not always the same. So that's interesting. So maybe the point of this is gonna be at the no, but like it's not true that someone's always out to kill Rika Furude. Maybe their goal of the year, the mastermind's goal for this year, is to kill Rika. Maybe. However, she always dies in June, because a similar powerful convention vows to kill her too. So we can assume that the same rule, why killing them, is also the rule behind her death. Is the same person killing all 3 of them? That's an interesting one. And I think the answer could be yes. That's interesting if, I don't know. I don't know if it's the same person, but it's highly likely the same rule is at work. If it's the same rule, then it's... I mean, it doesn't matter. Is it the same person or the same organization? Is it the same views? The same goals? Rika's most important goal is to escape her deadly fate. But it doesn't matter that she just wants to leave the village and survive. She wants to live happily in the village. All of her friends must also be happy too. That's Rika's happy future. The ideal future she hopes for. It's tragic that we can't realize such a simple desire no matter how many times we repeat this. Though it's a tragedy we're only able to perceive because we're being capable of comparing the fragments from different worlds. By the way, I have some interesting information. While Rika is almost always killed by Rule Y, Have you noticed that she's killed by roettes in some worlds? Yes, that is true. Right. It happened in Watanashi and Mayatashi chapters. So if Shion goes crazy, Rita always dies. Rita Furude committed suicide, but you can say she was more or less killed by roettes via Shion Sonozaki in those worlds. In other words, this was the blunder for Rowai. Rowai is trying to kill Rita with a strong desire to achieve some aim. But she was killed before that as a result of the unrelated roettes. That might have caused them to show some disturbance. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess it depends what they want, why they wanted to kill Rita. But if she dies from Shion, is there something different that happens? I'm not sure. If Rose Y's objective is simply to bury Rita, then that's not a problem. But if they have some sort of objective beyond that, then that might show up as some other phenomenon. Funny enough, though, the only thing I can think of is like Shion, like, I don't know, something special that happens. Perhaps the Watanashi and Mayatashi chapters have something in common besides like almost the whole story. Something that doesn't happen in other worlds. Huh. It's an interesting way to look at it. I'm trying to think just off the top of my head right now, but it's not popping up. I mean, yes, they're different, but like, is there something major? The fact that like, I guess I don't know, I was trying to say like Oryu dies, but I guess she dies from the gas bomb, so it doesn't matter. Hint? Damn it. Unfortunately, we're Rita Furude, so we don't know what happens after Rita is dead. Or, by any chance, do you know what happened? I don't. I'm drawing a blank here. I don't know. Since I'm Rita Furude, I only know of events during Rita's life. You, on the other hand, are a special existence who was born in a superior world. Is there anything that didn't happen in the Watanashi and Mayatashi chapters that happened in all the other worlds after Rita's death? I don't know. I don't know. Because we can only go after Anatatashi and, I guess Anatatashi, Sumi Horoboshi, and Totorigoroshi. Nothing's really doing it, though. If you know anything, then that must be another truth behind Rule Y. No, dude, I feel like I'm failing. Like, if you're smart, you should know this. Maybe. I don't know, though. Maybe I'll get it for next episode. The memories I have here are all mainly about the chaos brought about by Rita's friend, that is roettes. But its foundation, Rosette, and the obviously hostility common among all worlds, Rule Y, are what I believe to be the true rules governing this stage. Yes, I can agree with that, kind of. If so, then Rita's path is a thorny one. She needs to fight Rule Y in order to survive. Unless she defeats it, she has no future past June 1983. And to win her own happiness, she must also beat roettes to win her friend's safety. So as long as that's undefeated, one of Rita's precious friends may be led to tragedy. If that happens, then even should Rita survive, she wouldn't have the happy future she hopes for. She also may have to defeat Rosette, just as the Sonozaki Shion faced it in Mayatashi. So long as Rosette remains, and even if she escapes 1983, it's possible another tragedy may lie waiting in 1984. So basically, We need to stop the Sonozakis from claiming everything, or at least clearing that up. We need to prevent one of our friends from going on a killing rampage. And then we need to fix the environment, aka probably the mastermind planning it. It's extremely likely that Rule Z is a breeding ground for Rule X. Hinamizawa's fundamental belief that Sonozaki family is behind everything, and the custom that anything can be misconstrued as the curse may indirectly be the root of all evil here. People are not surprised to see somebody die on the night of the Watch Nagashi. That type of thinking is keeping the curse alive in Hinamizawa, where it causes even more tragedy. It's Rule Z reinforcing itself. Roulettes Y and Z. There are 3 rules that hunt Rika down in the eternal June of 1983. They are all tough obstacles. We didn't even figure out these 3 common rules until recently. Were you aware of them? Kind of. Not fully, the way you're looking at them, though. We didn't, like, categorize them, but I kind of knew about everything they're talking about. If you were, I'll give you straight A's. I tried so hard in the past to break these rules, but I was never successful. However, a miracle happened in the Sumi Horoboshi chapter. Keiichi Maibro was able to recognize a small fragment from another world by chance, and he beat Rule X. In the end, Rika was still killed that night by Rule Y, though. But still, one rule was defeated. That was a huge leap forward. Rika knew there were 3 common rules among the worlds, but she could never break any of them. Eventually she gave up and lost interest in the worlds. That's how I was born. However, she's different now. She learned something valuable from Keiichi Maibra. That the rules can be broken with a strong enough will to fight. If she can break all 3 rules, Rika Furude will be freed from her eternal prison. She doesn't have much time left, though. Rika has traveled through many worlds. Her physical lifespan is not a problem, but her mental lifespan is getting shorter. Mentally, she is extremely old, and her soul is starting to turn into something different. In the end, she'll probably lose the ability to experience singular worlds. She's already showing those signs, and eventually her memories from the parallel worlds will mix together, ultimately causing her derangement and the loss of Rika Furude's soul. Then she will disappear. That means that you and I are going to be left in this dark world. The fragments of our memories will gradually disappear, and we will be left alone in the eternal darkness. Eventually, we will die. Rika Furude is aware of that. She knows that her mental lifespan is getting shorter and shorter. Hanyu is also losing her powers. Ah, is that the friend's name? I just had a flashback to the Hani. I was about to say Haniwa. Hanyu, dude. I honestly completely forgot about that. In what was it, Maitashi? During the suicide thing. Wow. So that was a name. I thought that was just her yelling, her screech of death. Hanyu. It sounds weird. I guess it made sense though. So this, yeah, okay. She can't rewind through years of time like she used to. Huh? What is happening now? Her power has decreased so much that she can barely rewind 1 month of time. Actually, she can only rewind a few weeks. In the next world, she should only have 2 weeks of time. So we're seeing countless worlds, but is this happening because Rita's friend is rewinding time, and that's what's creating all of these worlds? And they're all different because even if you rewind time, like the random factors happen. That's interesting. This might be the explanation why there's so many instances. Because Hanyu, I guess we can now stop calling her Rita's friend, is rewinding time, creating all these weird timelines. Maybe? I don't know. It's actually kind of different than I thought. So Rita's actually mentally dying which I didn't. I mean, it's different. It's painting a different picture than was in my mind a bit. Rita's going to try and break all 3 rules in just those 2 weeks. I wanted to know what's outside the well. So I tried to claw my way up from there. I wanted to know what's outside the well, so I injured myself. I'm not reading this, but you can read this. More Frederica Burn Castle. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons. Minagoroshi. Thank you. I think that I was getting kind of tired, but I was determined to finish it. Hopefully my mouth will be less tense. Though the teeth clicking actually has stopped a bit. Good timing, but a little too late. Oh, is this the same opening from Sumihoroboshi? Oh no! Sorry. I clicked the wrong thing and I tabbed out. We're gonna end it there, guys, though. What an interesting... God, it's all white. That's gross. That is disgusting. Anyways, we're gonna end it there. That's a very interesting start. I really enjoyed it, though. I mean, I did have to read everything because there's no voice acting. That probably didn't help my stuffed status, but very fun. Felt like we were, well, not chatting, but we were listening to. I'm still not 100% sure. It sounds like it's actually not Burn Castle, but I'm not sure. It's like observers. Maybe, I don't know. Like maybe it was us and an observer from another universe. I think that's what it is. It's an observer from another universe and like maybe us just watching it happen. And like Rika / Burn Castle and Hanyu apparently are working together to solve it. I don't know, fancy stuff. We'll sleep on it, let it marinate a bit. Maybe I'll come back with some answers to some of the questions. But yeah, fun episode. Got some new tech, new ideas to think about, how it works. Got our rules in place, our win conditions for this arc, you know. Last arc we did good, but this arc we have 3 win conditions and we have even less time, so it's gonna be a tight race, but let's see how it goes. But thank you guys for watching, as always. Ooh, I forgot to mention this. Maybe I'll mention it in the next intro, but yes, we had daylight saving times like maybe a couple weeks ago, and I know not all worlds do it. All worlds, sorry, I'm still in the multiverse thought, but not all countries do it, so technically our videos will be posted like an hour later because the clock went back an hour. Did it go back or go forward? I don't even know anymore, but it's if you don't have daylight savings times and you haven't watched any of the other series, then you might notice the uploading is kind of off. But it's not off. It's actually still noon my time, but it might not be noon your time. But anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. Let it rest a bit, and then we'll have more fun with Minagoroshi next time. Get into the meat, see what's going up with our club members, maybe. But yeah, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.